Hey there, Shauna from SkipBlast here, and today I want to give you a look at the 1 year look back at Project Cloudburst. This is a case study that I actually started on my blog on SkipBlast. I haven't actually updated the progress of what's going on with this particular site since I think it was March of this year. And if you are new to this case study, don't worry, I'm going to kind of give you the whole life update of this particular site. Because it did just hit being live a full year. So don't worry if you haven't read that case study, I will give you the update. I'll also drop the links to the previous updates that are on SkipBlast below. All right, let's get started. All right, so as a refresher for some of you and just how it started for those of you who are new to this case study, what happened was in October of last year, I bought one of those packages from niche website builders. That included an H domain and 100,000 words of content written by their team. So by the time I got delivery of this entire package, so the website with the content, that ended up with the site actually going live the first week of December 2021. Now, the niche that this particular site is in is a niche that is new to me. I've never worked in it before. But I knew I wanted to get into it because I had seen some sites in the niche sell for, high six figures. So I was kind of trying to make a conservative estimate of how much I would make. And I settled on around $5,000 a month would be something that would be a super, easy to achieve goal for me. And that's how this case study started. So after taking delivery of the site, you can see that the initial rankings that appeared, things were looking pretty well, right? This was only the third day of all of those posts being, live on that H domain. Just a quick sidebar, the way that niche website builders, the way that they, basically fulfilled these orders is they publish all of the content at once. So it wasn't like they dripped the content out. This was the third day of all of those posts being live. And like I said, things were looking pretty good, right? We already had, a keyword that had decent volume pop on page 1. The other rankings were looking pretty good. So this was, like I said, the third day of the site being live. Fast forward to day 4, things are still looking pretty good, right? We've got some new keywords. Things are still looking great. We've got multiple spots on page 1. And just so you know, the keywords that are being tracked in this tool are basically one keyword for each blog post that was created, and that's like the main keyword that each blog post is targeting. Then 5 days pass, and this is what my rank tracker looked like. You can see if that some of those keywords actually did go up from that last screenshot. I've got a lot of other keywords that populated for the first time between that last screenshot and this one, and this was only 5 days, right? So things were looking really good. And then this happened. As you can imagine, I was like, WTF, right? So I have to say, this is really the first time this has happened to me with an H domain or a fresh domain. So when this happened, I was like, oh man, what is going on? Is this something that I did? And I had to ask that because I had gone into the site, since things were going well, and I had switched out Yoast, which niche website builders had installed, and I'd switched that out with Rank Math. That was pretty much the only thing I did in those 5 days when everything went to hell, right? So I was like, oh man, gotta switch this back to Yoast, right? And that was actually the advice of Adam over at niche website builders. But then I was starting to think surely that wasn't just changing out the SEO plugin, right? Because I've done that before on other sites and never had this happen. So then I was thinking, maybe it's an algorithm update. So I got online and looked at all the usual places where you can get information about updates. No chatter about an update. I was like, okay, well, maybe this is like an unconfirmed update. I did see a few people talking about things that made me think there could have been an unconfirmed update going on, but it's really hard to say because there wasn't a lot of chatter about it. So with all things SEO, I decided, I'm just gonna let this sit for like a month or so, see what happens. I just changed back to Yoast, so if that was the problem, I would think, a month should take care of that, right? So, you want to see what happened? Yeah. 6 weeks go by, and absolutely nothing had changed for this site. So then I'm thinking, okay, I have all this content, dropped all this cache. What am I going to do about this now? So I was like, you know what? This site is basically dead, right? So I'm going to buy a fresh domain, take all the content, move it over, see what happens. Now, my thought process was, maybe this will tell me if the problem is the content or the domain. So I got all that content moved over, brand new domain, never been registered before by anyone. And what do you know? Rankings start happening for this site. It's a little slow, of course, because it is a brand new site, but the rankings I started getting, they appeared pretty quickly, and some of them ended up actually better than with the H domain. So fast forward a little bit, by now it's late May of this year, and I get an email from Adam at Niche Website Builders. He's like, hey, let's change out your domain with a different H domain and see if we can't get this working for you. I'm assuming they don't do this for all of their clients. I didn't actually pay for this new domain. I actually never even took ownership of it, like it was never pushed to my account. So like I said, I assume they don't do this for everyone, but that is what happened with this site. So that was late May. Then by the 1st of June, the Niche Website Builders team, they'd gotten all of that content from that original H domain moved over to this new one. So that was all live, indexed by Google, June 1st. Now, I didn't actually tell them that I just copied all of that content over to a fresh domain. I honestly didn't know if it would even matter, right? That's why I didn't tell them. And I kind of wanted to see what happened, right? Okay, so here's what happened. They moved all that content over to the new H domain, got indexed, pretty fast. First rankings appeared on June 3rd. Now remember, that content got moved and was live on June 1st. So just 2 days later, started seeing rankings happen for the new domain. Now, I want to show you what's been going on with the site since then. So it's been 6 months, right? New H domain, got indexed quickly, got rankings quickly. Here's how it looks. Yeah, that is as tragic as you think it is. So this graph covers the period of June 3rd, when those first rankings started appearing, to the day that I'm recording this, December the 6th. So if you've ever used SERP Robot before, you probably recognize this graph, and you can see just how tragic the rankings were. So this is for all of the keywords that I'm tracking for this site. We had a few instances of getting in the top 10, but for the most part, pretty much nothing has happened in terms of ranking for this site. And that's been 6 months. So if you're like I would be right now, you're thinking, but man, is it because she had all that content copied over to that fresh domain? What's going on with it? Well, the sad reality, although I guess it might be a good thing, I don't know, is that fresh domain, it still has better rankings than either of the H domains have ever had, right? So it's better than the new H domain, better than the old H domain. This is a brand new domain, never registered before, right? It's not even a year old yet, and this is what's going on with it. And also, I should let you know, I've not done anything to that fresh domain. No link building, no more content, nothing. I copied that over. I haven't touched it since. So now I want to show you some screenshots of both this fresh domain and the new H domain. So this screenshot is from SERP Robot. It shows that I am tracking 56 keywords. Like I said, that's one primary keyword for each of the blog posts that are live. And as of today, we've got 0 of 56 keywords in the top 100, and the average ranking position is 201. So yeah, things are not going well with that new H domain. And here we have the same screenshot for that freshly registered domain where I just copied all of the content over. Still ranking those same 56 keywords. And look at that, 17 of those are actually in the top 100. Average ranking position 147, that's because I still have tons of these that aren't actually ranking. But you can see here that things are trending in the right direction because we have a difference here in the top 100 and top 30 at a minimum here. I noticed right off the bat, those numbers have gotten better just, I guess, in the last 24 hours. So it's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy that this fresh domain is showing better rankings than the new age domain. So that is the 12-month update on this case study, which means it's been pretty much a complete and total failure, right? Such a waste of time and money so far, although I haven't actually spent that much time on it. But what's really interesting about this case study for me is I've never actually experienced this kind of thing happening with age domains like this. And I've certainly never had a fresh domain rank better for the same content than not one, but two different age domains. So right now, the kind of things that I'm thinking is, now what? Where do I go from here with this case study project? Because the truth is, I still don't know what the exact problem is, right? Could it be that both of those age domains are just like hot garbage, right? And is that likely? Is it likely that they managed to pick up two age domains in the same niche back to back and they're both terrible? I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't think they would have the reputation they have if that was what was going on. The other thing it could be, is the content. Is there something wrong with this content that is causing zero rankings? And early on, that's what I thought, but now I'm not so sure. I mean, that fresh domain is ranking with the exact same content. So surely it's not just the content alone that's the problem. And so now I'm also wondering, what am I going to do with this age domain, right? Do I just let it basically expire? I don't know, maybe I end up 301ing it to the fresh domain and see what happens. But it kind of seems like it's a toxic age domain, right? So I'm not really sure where I'm going to go from here. What do you think? I'm happy to take your thoughts on this. Maybe you've actually experienced it. So if you have any ideas, go ahead, drop me a comment. I'm all ears. And hey, if you like content like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I've got more case studies to update you on.